Welcome to the Risk Wheelhouse, the podcast where we navigate the ever-changing seas of risk management and technology. Join your hosts, Ori Wellington and Sam Jones, as they steer you through the latest trends, insights, and strategies shaping the future of integrated risk management. Ready to chart a course towards success? Hop aboard and let's set sail into today's deep dive.
Welcome to today's deep dive. Ready to explore something that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction, but it's actually happening right now. We're going to unlock the world of AI agents in risk management, and think way beyond those basic chatbots. We're talking AI that could potentially run entire departments, making decisions, managing risks around the clock.
It's a fascinating evolution, and it's already in motion, that's for sure. We've got a stack of articles and research right here, and it's really clear that some major players like ServiceNow and Salesforce, they're placing big bets on this technology.
Okay, so before we get ahead of ourselves, let's define what we're actually talking about here. What exactly are these AI agents that everyone's buzzing about, and how are they different from, say, Siri telling me I have a dentist appointment?
That's a great question. Unlike those simple chatbots that just respond to, very basic queries, these AI agents, they're designed to execute these really complex tasks, and the best part is with minimal human intervention. Imagine, like, a digital assistant that doesn't just remind you about deadlines, but it actually helps you meet them, automating workflows and even making decisions based on the data it's trained on.
Wow. Okay, so these aren't just setting calendar reminders. We're talking about AI that can make judgment calls. That's a whole different ball game. Where do we even see this happening in the real world?
One of the most interesting examples, I think, comes from ServiceNow. They're already using these AI agents to manage IT and customer service tickets, believe it or not. And the idea is to automate those routine tasks, the ones that take up so much time. And by doing that, freeing up those human employees for more strategic work.
Interesting. So they're tackling those day-to-day issues. But I'm curious, how does this jump from just handling tickets to something as complex as managing an organization's entire risk landscape?
Well, that's where this whole conversation gets really, really interesting. The term you'll often hear thrown around is IRM, short for Integrated Risk Management. Essentially, it's about connecting the dots between all the different risks a company might face, financial, operational, you name it, and managing them all together holistically.
Okay, so IRM is about seeing the big picture when it comes to risk. I get it. But how does AI actually play into that?
Think about all the tasks involved in IRM, constantly monitoring regulations, updating compliance controls, responding to incidents, things like that. Now imagine those tasks being handled by AI agents in the background, tirelessly working without taking breaks. That's the potential we're talking about here.
So instead of a team of analysts burning through coffee and trying to stay on top of everything, you got AI agents doing the heavy lifting. That almost sounds too good to be true.
It does, doesn't it? But it's important to remember that these are still early days. While ServiceNow is making strides, they're not alone in recognizing the potential of AI in this space. Salesforce, another major player, has also jumped into the arena, and they're calling it Agent Force.
Agent Force. Okay, that definitely sounds like something out of a tech thriller or something. What's their angle?
So Salesforce is already well known for its customer relationship management platform. We all know that. But with Agent Force, they're taking automation to a whole new level. We're talking about automating tasks across a multitude of business functions: customer service, marketing, even procurement.
That's a lot. But we're supposed to be focusing on risk management here. How does Agent Force fit into that puzzle?
Well, because risk, it's intertwined with every single aspect of a business. Imagine, for instance, Agent Force automating vendor risk assessments, like in real time, or flagging potential marketing campaigns that could expose a company to, let's say, reputational risk.
I see what you mean. It's like having an AI watchdog, just like keeping an eye on everything, constantly scanning for potential risks across all departments.
Exactly. And this is particularly relevant for solutions like Risk Connect, which is a platform specifically designed for IRM. And get this, it happens to be built on the Salesforce platform. Now imagine the possibilities when you layer Agent Force's capabilities onto that.
Okay, now we're talking. So we've got ServiceNow dipping their toes into the water and Salesforce diving headfirst with Agent Force. It seems like the potential here is massive. But before we get everyone too excited, let's break down what this actually looks like in action.
Absolutely. Let's explore how this level of automation could fundamentally change how businesses manage risk. And we can start with the concept of autonomous risk management.
Autonomous risk management.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're on the verge of companies being run by robots. But I'm into it. Tell me more.
Autonomous risk management might sound like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's more about giving businesses the tools to be, proactive and efficient. It's not really about handing over the reins to robots.
Okay, that's reassuring. But seriously, what does this actually look like in practice? Do you have any real-world examples?
Absolutely. Let's just say, for example, new regulations are released that impact your industry. Instead of manually combing through pages of legal jargon and then scrambling to update all your policies, imagine AI agents springing into action. They just analyze the changes, identify any areas of impact, and then even go so far as to suggest updates to your compliance controls. And all automatically.
Wow, that would be a game changer for anyone who's ever had to deal with the headache of regulatory compliance.
Yeah.
I know I'd definitely sleep better at night. But what about something a little more high stakes? Like, what about a cyber attack? Could AI really handle something like that?
It's a great question, and the answer is it's already happening. In the case of a cyber incident, AI agents, they could be that first line of defense. They could identify any anomalies in real time, isolate any affected systems. They can even launch pre-programmed response protocols, all while at the same time they're alerting human teams to come in and take over the more complex decision-making.
So it's like having this superpowered security guard who never sleeps.
Yeah.
And they can spot trouble before it even knocks on the door.
Precisely. And this ability to just analyze these massive data sets, to not just react to, but to actually predict potential risks, that's where AI truly shines. Imagine being able to anticipate supply chain disruptions, forecast financial risks, or even predict equipment failures. And this is all before they even happen.
Okay, now we're talking about some next level stuff.
Yeah.
This goes way beyond simply checking off compliance boxes. This is about using AI to get ahead of the curve and make smarter decisions across the board.
Exactly. But even with all this potential, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, the cost.
Are you ready to see risk management in action? At Wheelhouse Advisors, we've launched a new YouTube channel dedicated to integrated risk management. You'll find quick explainers, insights from our IRM Navigator research reports, highlights from the Risk Journal, and conversations from the Risk Wheelhouse podcast. We're covering the topics that matter most to executives and risk leaders, from AI governance and cyber insurance to operational resilience and regulatory change. Every video is designed to help you anticipate risks, adapt with confidence, and build resilience in a digital-first world. In our first video, we explain how ISO 42001, the EU AI Act, and the NIST AI Risk Management Framework can work together as a unified playbook for AI risk. Subscribe today at youtube.com/@wheelhouseadv and get the latest insights delivered directly to you. That's youtube.com/@wheelhouseadv. Subscribe now and stay ahead of the risks that matter most.
This level of AI technology, it sounds expensive. And for many businesses, especially smaller ones, it might seem completely out of reach.
That's a really good point. AI has always come with a hefty price tag, which can be a major, major barrier for companies with, limited budgets. Is there any way around that?
That's where things get really interesting from a business model perspective. We're starting to see a pretty significant shift away from the traditional software pricing models, like those, hefty monthly subscriptions, and moving more towards something that could make AI a lot more accessible. Pay-per-use.
Pay-per-use. So kind of like ordering off an AI menu. I'll take one compliance audit, a side of risk assessment, and hold the jargon.
You got it. Salesforce, for example, they're exploring this model with Agentforce. The idea is that you only pay for the tasks your AI agents actually complete. That's it. This means businesses, they can leverage the power of AI without needing that massive upfront investment.
That's brilliant. It makes AI accessible to a much wider range of businesses and allows them to kind of test the waters and then scale as needed. But with all this talk about AI taking over these really critical tasks, I have to ask, are we putting too much trust in these systems? What about the potential downsides?
You've hit on a really critical point. While all the possibilities are really exciting, it's so crucial to approach this technology with a healthy dose of caution and awareness. There are definitely challenges and potential pitfalls that we can't afford to ignore.
Like what? What are some of the things we need to be wary of when we start integrating AI into something as crucial as as risk management?
One of the biggest concerns, and rightfully so, is data security. We're talking about AI agents handling sensitive information, right? Financial data, customer details, internal communications. The question then becomes, how do we ensure this data is protected, especially when these systems are operating with a high degree of autonomy?
Right, because a data breach on that scale could be catastrophic. It seems like the stakes are even higher when you've got AI in the mix.
Exactly. And it's not just about external threats either. We also need to think about internal risks, like, for example, unintended biases in the data these AI agents are trained on, which could then lead to flawed or even discriminatory outcomes.
So it's not just about implementing the technology. It's about understanding its limitations and building in those safeguards to prevent unintended consequences. It seems like there's a whole other level of risk management that comes with managing the risks of AI itself.
Precisely. And this is where human oversight remains absolutely crucial. We can't just set it and forget it when it comes to AI.
So are you saying we shouldn't get too caught up in the hype, that we need to keep our expectations in check?
Exactly. It's about finding that right balance, leveraging the power and efficiency that AI can bring to the table, but at the same time, retaining that human oversight, that critical thinking and ethical judgment. Those are still so important. Think of it less about replacing human intelligence and more about augmenting it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So it's not about just handing over the keys to the robots and hoping for the best, right? It's about humans and AI working together side by side to navigate this, like you said, increasingly complex world of risk.
Absolutely. And that actually brings up another critical point, this need for continuous learning and adaptation. The world of risk, as we know, it's constantly evolving. And the AI systems that we build, they need to evolve with it, or else they're going to get left behind.
So it's not a one-and-done situation. We can't just, install AI and expect it to handle everything perfectly, right? From day one, it's an ongoing process, training, monitoring, and constantly adapting these systems to make sure that they can keep pace with those new threats, new challenges.
Exactly. And that's actually where the human element becomes even more critical. We need experts, people who really understand both the capabilities but also the limitations of AI, professionals who can, really dig into that data, interpret it, identify any potential biases, and then make sure that these systems are actually being used responsibly and ethically.
It sounds like we're talking about a whole new breed of risk professional then, right? Those who can bridge the gap, so to speak, between human intuition and artificial intelligence.
Absolutely. We need individuals who are not only, totally up to date on traditional risk management practices, that's a given, but they also need to be really comfortable working alongside AI, understanding how it works, and making sure that it's aligned with, with human values.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground today, from just defining what these AI agents even are, to then exploring their potential to, completely transform risk management as we know it. And of course, we have to acknowledge those very real challenges and those ethical considerations that come with a technology this powerful.
It has been a fascinating discussion, and it really just highlights how quickly this field is evolving. What once seemed like, the stuff of science fiction is very quickly becoming a reality.
It really is mind-blowing. But for our listener who might be feeling a little overwhelmed right now, which, trust me, is totally understandable given the sheer volume of information we've just unpacked, what's the one key takeaway you'd want them to walk away with?
That's a great question. If I had to pick one thing, I'd say it's so essential to approach this whole new era of AI-driven risk management with both a sense of excitement but also a really healthy dose of skepticism. Embrace the incredible potential of this technology, absolutely. But at the same time, stay vigilant about those limitations, those potential pitfalls. We talked about them. They're real.
Excellent point. It's like anything else, right? Knowledge is power. The more we actually understand about AI, both its possibilities and its limitations, the better equipped we'll be to actually use this power and to use it responsibly and ethically.
I couldn't agree more. And that's a conversation that, honestly, we need to keep having, openly and honestly. The future of risk management is being shaped right now as we speak, and it's up to all of us to make sure that AI is used as a force for good.
Absolutely. It's a future that's full of potential, but it's up to us to navigate it wisely. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of AI and risk management. We hope you found it insightful, thought-provoking, and maybe even a little bit exciting. As always, thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a new and fascinating topic. Until then, keep exploring, learning, and stay curious.
That wraps up another episode of the Risk Wheelhouse. Thank you for spending time with us at Wheelhouse Advisors today. We hope you found the conversation insightful and actionable for your organization's risk strategies. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music. If you're looking for more in-depth analysis and thought leadership on risk technology, be sure to visit the Risk Tech Journal at therisktechjournal.com. It's your go-to source for comprehensive articles, expert interviews, and the latest trends shaping the industry. Subscribe today to stay informed. For any inquiries or feedback, please contact us directly at info@wheelhouseadvisors.com, or feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn and x.com and share your thoughts or suggestions for future topics. Visit wheelhouseadvisors.com for more information and resources. Thanks again for joining us. Until next time, navigate wisely.